Predator hunting is sometimes a lonely game. But when we assembled the carnivore crew, we originally had this grand plan of all of us hunting together. I'm Gary Robertson, an old wore-out coyote hunter. My longtime hunting buddy, Dustin Whitaker, the one we call Shed, is supposed to have joined us, but he's stuck back at the office. He thinks he's a big wig with mossy oak, but I'm going to be killing everything I can before he gets here. And I've got Steve Robertson, my youngest genetically linked offspring, on camera, the one we call the Beaver. And I've got Brian Hawkins on another camera. And before Shed gets here, we've got a lot of killing to do. I forget what day it is, but I knew this was going to be the last calling opportunity for the day. The sun's setting low and the wind had picked up. I set the call out about 30 yards in front of me just to keep the attention away from me and onto the sound. There's a coyote, 2 coyotes on the fence. Many times a coyote will stop before he crosses a fence, and I think it's because he wants to check everything really well before he slides under that wire. I'm going to take that coyote. That coyote's downwind of where we're sitting. I'm just going to take him right there. Gosh, I can't believe that coyote stood there for that. He was downwind of me. Go back to where I was, kick the call back on. Let's see what else happens. 2 more coyotes, 2 more coyotes to the right, to the right. Come on, give me a stop, give me a stop, give me a stop. How about that shot? I don't make a living doing those every day. Woo, goodness gracious. I rolled him up like a tortilla. Gosh, everybody, I gotta go see that one. This has been a super day, boys. The next couple of days were like a blur. Don't remember much except that the wind blew and the coyotes didn't respond well, but we did manage to get a couple to respond to the calls. It's almost high noon and this coyote evidently had a hearing problem, and I'm not saying that as a joke. I think this coyote was bedded down just a little downwind of us, and he heard the sound of that caller when I ran the volume up really high. But if you'll notice, this coyote goes all the way around me. I'm barking at him as loudly as I can. This coyote's within 75 yards. I turn the caller back on with a lot of volume. He runs right by it. I just feel like this coyote could not hear. But he was a really old dog, and Lord knows us old folks have trouble with our hearing. The wind wouldn't quit, and neither did we. On the very next setup, I look out, and there's a coyote standing there for who knows how long. We had the wind just right. The sun wasn't great, but we weren't hidden super well. Like I say, the sun was high, so we didn't have any shadows. And that you'll notice this coyote spooks off a little bit, but I turn the caller back on as he's trying to circle to the downwind, and when I do, he makes the very worst mistake he can make, and that's go right back down the hill and puts him right in front of my gun. We kind of had to work for that coyote. He'd been there for no telling who knows how long, but he wasn't in a position to shoot. Just kept coaxing him and got him in a position where we could take him. Dustin finally made it in, and the coyotes aren't working. That poor boy drove a long way for nothing.
I guess before I got here, Gary had done wiped the place clean of the coyotes, because when I got here we struggled pretty bad. But the day before I got here, Gary put a murdering on them, which was what tends to happen sometimes. First day's the best, and then it kind of goes downhill from there. There's a coyote right up on that ridge, way down there, about 800 yards.
I was actually surprised. We finally had a coyote coming in. It took this coyote all morning long to come to the call. We saw him probably 5 minutes into the call, a half a mile away. 30 minutes later, we're still calling that same coyote.
I was like, okay, we're in the game, we're fixing to have a party. And here he come. But he wanted to take his time, and he was cautious. I don't know if he was afraid that some other, older coyotes were going to come in. He was immature, and he might get whooped, or he may have been hunted before, he may have been called to before, who knows, but he took his good old time getting in there.
I kind of started feeling bad about this coyote coming so far for a meal and minutes away from getting shot at. As hard as he was working, he deserved a break.
This coyote kind of started out as Dustin's, but he's mine now. He's in my zone.
In fact, he parks right beside a cedar, and I'm waiting for Shed to shoot, but he doesn't.
Gone. Joker's like 400 yards. What the heck's he thinking? I know what it was. He done thought I was gonna shoot before him, and he wanted to kill another one.
Sorry, Dustin, but he kind of changed to my coyote over here.
You got worried I was gonna shoot, didn't you? Shot before he
I
got
was
close.
trying to hog your coyote.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Well, he started out as your coyote because it's on the right, and then when he got up in here, he was on the left. He was my coyote then.
But I thought our agreement was everything from here this way is mine, and everything that
Well,
way
wait a
is
minute.
yours.
There is nothing over here for me. Oh, gosh dang.
I'll buy you lunch if it'll make you feel better.
Well, it's a Coyote Cafe only.
All right.
We break for lunch to lick our wounds and come up with a plan. Heading for the trees and seeing spots. More carnivore coming up.